Hi everyone. I've given up. There's no way to get the angle of the sun, the angle of the wind, and the background good at the same time. So I'm just going to go with this before I hop on my train. And obviously now cars are going by. I actually delayed this by a couple minutes because a bunch of helicopters just went overhead. Hopefully it'll stay quiet for a couple minutes. Well, I share something that I wanted to process a bit. I was talking to my business advisor, and she was like, now be sure that when you're talking about Chinese astrology, to make it very clear that it's rooted in Chinese medicine. It's actually the roots of Chinese medicine, but whatever. Because that's something that everyone understands and believes in, and they've seen works and they have experience with. And I was remembering how when I started out doing Chinese medicine over 15 years ago, but we'll let that pass, people were telling me, like, you're learning what? You're studying what? Someone actually said to me, oh, I'm sorry, I can't have any respect for that career path. I'm an engineer, so I need things that actually work and have proof. And the process of change that's happened with the acceptance of Chinese medicine in the area where I live, at least, where it went from people who were coming because it was their very last resort, they tried everything else, and their aunt's cousin's boyfriend talked them into giving it a try, to at this point people coming in with a printout of prescriptions and recommendations from doctors. It's like anti-inflammatories, physiotherapy, Chinese medicine. So there's so much acceptance around Chinese medicine. Also things that I remember, 10 years ago, people were like, oh, well, studies, double blind, you can't really prove. And now, specialists are recommending it. And I love listening to like science podcasts. And so I'm hearing about all of these studies where people are completely ignoring, like, oh, we're not talking about whether acupuncture works. We're looking into like how the points on the legs affect the immune system in a different way than the points in the belly. Hi, Malky. Hi. Thanks for popping in. I blew Malky off because I missed my bus, and so I'm now sitting here in the parking lot of a train station doing a live instead of having a meeting with Malky. So I guess she's free, so she joined me anyway. So actually, I have an idea. Hang on. Malky, I don't know if you're anywhere where you're free to talk, but would you like to pop in? See if this works. Hang in there, everyone. Tech is not our strong point. Maybe Malky can't join anyway. In which case, I will just keep talking, and you'll just have this weird break in the middle that probably no one will watch through, and then you'll never find out what I was thinking. Wouldn't that be a shame? Because everyone should know what I'm thinking all the time. Have to get a kid to piano. Okay, never mind. Enjoy piano. So I'm just going to keep talking, and Malky will just be able to listen while she gets her kid to piano and won't be able to respond. So 10 years ago, I had a clinic. I was starting out. I had some established clients, but I was still talking to a lot of new people. And one of the things that happened is I would say to people, they'd ask, what's my problem? And I would say, well, I can't give you a diagnosis, in Western medicine because I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you that according to Chinese medicine, your kidney function is low, and that's why you have, that's one of the reasons that you're dealing with increased anxiety. And they'd be like, kidneys have nothing to do with anxiety. Well, in Chinese medicine, when we say kidneys, like basically we're talking more about the adrenal glands, and there'd be this whole thing. But generally people are like, oh, whatever. You do your thing. If it works, and then I'll be happy. But there wasn't so much interest in the method, in the methodology, and why it worked. Either it worked or it didn't. And just today I was reading this cute little article that I put together to share somewhere. It was like ways to strengthen your kidney energy in order to help your anxiety. And I was looking at all of these suggestions that are taken from the world of Chinese medicine that are not necessarily the first thing that would come to mind when you're talking about anxiety from a Western perspective, where we're probably thinking more about psychological interventions or CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, as opposed to CBD, which might also be good for anxiety, where we're looking at more pharmaceutical or therapeutic, like in quotes, like talk or behavioral interventions. So in Chinese medicine, because we're looking at the person as a holistic unit. The mind affects the body affects the mind, and everything affects everything else. And so we can look at broader lifestyle interventions in order to help with things like anxiety. So say if someone has anxiety, we've concluded that their kidney energy is low. Or again, when we say kidney energy, we don't necessarily mean that there's a problem with the function of the physical kidneys, but we're talking about a function in the body that is closely associated mostly with the adrenal glands and with their effect on the kidneys, the blood pressure, and so on. And so things that can help strengthen kidney function will be good for anxiety, assuming your anxiety is from low kidney function, but it usually is. At least if the kidneys are strong enough, the kidney energy is strong enough, then you're going to be able to cope with the anxious situation without really suffering from anxiety. And so we're talking about things like eating salty foods, eating dark legumes that are rich in minerals, breathing exercises, getting enough sleep, staying warm, not getting chilled, and acupuncture, obviously, stimulating different points in the body. And and staying hydrated, obviously, but not overhydrating, and making sure that you're actually getting enough water, that you're getting healthy liquids and fluids into your body. At some point, I will try and work out the differences between liquid and fluid in English and why I felt like one of them was right and one wasn't, but this is not the time for that. And so I'm looking at my list and I'm like, you know what? I think that pretty much everything on this list that people were fighting with me about a decade ago is accepted. Like, obviously, you need to get your electrolytes in balance. Obviously, you need to take in enough of those dark-colored legumes and vegetables, right? Everyone's got their 5 colors a day in order to make sure you're getting enough minerals for your body to be healthy, getting enough sleep. We completely understand why that would affect your stress levels and how capable your body is of coping with stress without suffering an actual anxiety disorder. Breathing exercises, I highly recommend the latest episode of the Huberman Lab podcast, where he goes deep into the science of breath work and how breathing in different ways affects your body and your brain and changes hormone levels in the body. So basically everything there, we already knew it worked from experience. We know how it worked according to a worldview that did not match the worldview of most people that I talked to. Now we understand how it works, or we're beginning to understand how it works according to the modern Western scientific worldview. That doesn't change whether it works or not. We already knew it worked. Understanding why is brilliant. It lets us help more people. It lets us understand in what situations maybe things are useful that we didn't know they could be, or why things don't work in some cases. But it's not that understanding why it works makes it useful or makes it not be useful. And so the same thing with the Chinese astrology. Like, if I can look at someone's date of birth and say these interventions are going to be more helpful in terms of helping your anxiety and these ones will not be as helpful, I can't explain why it works. Like, I can explain in Chinese about the fluctuation of energy throughout the world as a periodic system. Scientifically, I can't explain. I can't say that people who were born at this period, whether they produce more stress hormones under the same situation in which other people produce less stress hormones. I can't explain the methodology. But the fact that I know that it works, I have 15 years of experience showing me that it works. We've got 3,000 years or so of experience, other people's experience demonstrating that it works. I'm not going to give up on a useful tool. And I really, really thought about it. I was really like, I could leave the astrology part out of it, and I could just talk about the lifestyle change and personality types and give people little questionnaires to find your personality type. But if I did that, when I did that, I was not helping people that I could help, because some people don't, some people need to consult about people, other family members, relatives, children, parents with dementia, people who can't fill in questionnaires. Some people need to consult about situations where they don't feel comfortable going into the background of it and telling me everything I would need to know in order to understand their personality type, just from getting to know them. Some people, pretty much all of us, I think, don't know ourselves as well as we think we do. And the way people talk about themselves and the way other people would describe them are so very different that the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And so using the date of birth, I can get a more accurate understanding of the person. I can give more accurate suggestions. And I've decided that I'm not willing to give up on that just in order to make what I offer more appealing to more people. And I think that's my trade. So I will finish that thought later.